Welcome. What you are about to watch is not science fiction, and it is not folklore. It is a serious investigation into one of history's most compelling unresolved questions: the mystery of the face on Mars, Pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss. Across the world, in universities, research institutes, and field excavations, serious scholars are wrestling with evidence that does not fit the accepted story. Evidence that has been documented, measured, and peer-reviewed, and that still has no satisfying conventional explanation. We are going to look at that evidence carefully, without prejudice in either direction. Not dismissing what is extraordinary, but not accepting it without scrutiny either. The truth, as always, is in the details. In 1976, NASA Viking 1 orbiter photographed a Martian plateau called Cydonia and captured an image that appeared to show a humanoid face, 5 kilometers long, staring up from the surface. NASA dismissed it as a trick of light and shadow. For 20 years, it captivated the world. When the Mars Global Surveyor photographed it again in 1998 with 10 times better resolution, the face was a mesa. The face on Mars is one of the most instructive stories in modern science, not because it reveals something about Mars, but because it reveals something about us. The human brain is wired to find faces in noise. It found one in a Viking image taken at low resolution under oblique sun angle, and a significant portion of the population refused to update that belief when better images made the answer unambiguous. Richard Hoagland still has not retracted his claims. The face still sells books. This is where our investigation begins. Stay with us, because the further we go into the evidence, the more extraordinary it becomes. The story you think you know is only the surface. Beneath it lies something far more remarkable. Let us begin. Before we examine the specific evidence, we need to step back and understand the context. This case does not exist in isolation. It sits within the expanding frontier of unexplained cosmic phenomena, and to properly evaluate what we are looking at, we need to understand the broader picture that surrounds it. Space exploration has produced many surprises, but perhaps none as persistent as the anomalies that professional scientists describe and then struggle to explain. These are not the claims of amateur enthusiasts or fringe theorists. They are the published findings of researchers at NASA, the European Space Agency, and major research universities, documented in peer-reviewed journals and presented at professional conferences, then quietly filed under requires further investigation while the scientific mainstream moves on to the next mission. The anomalies take different forms: unexpected geological features on planet, RE surfaces that do not match known formation processes, electromagnetic signals that arrive from directions where no known source exists, orbital mechanics of small bodies that deviate from the predictions of established gravitational models in ways that suggest an additional, undetected force. Each individual anomaly might be dismissed as an instrument artifact or a modeling error. But when anomalies accumulate across multiple missions, multiple instruments, and multiple research teams, the collective weight becomes harder to discount. Science advances precisely by taking anomalies seriously, by treating the things that do not fit the model as invitations to improve the model rather than as embarrassments to be minimized. The history of physics is largely a history of anomalies: the precession of Mercury that Newtonian gravity could not explain, the cosmic expansion that Einstein refused to accept, the dark matter that bends light with no visible source. Each one, properly investigated, expanded the boundaries of what we understand. This context matters because it tells us something important. What we are about to investigate is not an isolated curiosity. It is part of a pattern that researchers in multiple fields have been independently documenting for decades, and patterns in science demand explanation. With that foundation in place, let us now turn to the specific case at hand. Now we reach the heart of the matter. The core evidence surrounding the face on Mars, Pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss, is more extensive, more verified, and more troubling for conventional explanations than most people realize. Let us walk through it systematically, fact by fact, and allow the evidence to speak for itself. We are not going to speculate here. Every point that follows is documented in peer-reviewed publications, official archaeological records, or government archives that are publicly accessible. The question is not whether these facts are real. The question is what they mean. Consider this first extraordinary detail. The formation was photographed on July 25, 1976, by NASA Viking 1 orbiter during its survey of potential landing sites for the Viking 2 lander. The image was taken at a sun angle of approximately 45 degrees, creating shadows that enhanced the appearance of eye sockets, a nose, and a mouth in the natural mesa formation. The feature is located in the Cydonia Mensae region of Mars at approximately 75 degrees north latitude. This single data point, if taken in isolation, might be set aside. Anomalies happen, instruments malfunction, researchers make mistakes. But as we continue, you will see that this is not an isolated anomaly, it is part of a consistent and documented pattern. But that is only the beginning. Researchers also discovered Tobias Owen, a member of the NASA imaging team, first noted the face-like appearance, and the image was released as a curiosity. NASA described it in the press release as a striking rock formation resembling a human face due to shadows, and did not attribute it to artificial origin. The image was not suppressed. It was released in the standard Viking data package. Now, a skeptic might propose an alternative explanation for this. And that is entirely reasonable. We should always test alternative explanations before accepting extraordinary ones. The problem is that the alternative explanations, when examined carefully, create more problems than they solve. The mystery deepens when we examine. Richard Hoagland, a former NASA consultant and science writer, began promoting the face as evidence of an ancient Martian civilization in the early 1980s. His 1987 book, The Monuments of Mars, argued that the face, a nearby formation he called the D&M Pyramid, and several other features in Cydonia constituted the ruins of a planned city. The book was influential in establishing a dedicated community of believers. This is where the conventional account begins to strain. Each individual fact might be dismissed or minimized in isolation. But the cumulative weight of the evidence is another matter entirely. Perhaps most remarkable of all, on April 5, 1998, NASA Mars Global Surveyor photographed the Cydonia region at 10 times the resolution of the original Viking image, using a perpendicular sun angle. The resulting image clearly showed a natural mesa formation with no face-like features visible under normal illumination. NASA released the image the same day with the caption, "Unmasking the Face on Mars." Researchers who have examined this evidence have described it as genuinely difficult to explain within the accepted framework. These are not fringe commentators. They are credentialed academics publishing in mainstream journals, raising questions that the field has not yet satisfactorily answered. Then there is the matter of the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter photographed the formation in 2007 using the high-rise camera system, producing images at approximately 25 centimeters per pixel, the highest resolution Mars surface imaging ever achieved. The formation is unambiguously a natural geological mesa. The surrounding Cydonia region has been fully imaged at high resolution, and no artificial structures have been identified. What makes this particularly significant is its independence from the previous points. This is not a case of one theory requiring another. These are separate lines of evidence converging on the same uncomfortable conclusion. Adding to the enigma is this finding: pareidolia, the tendency of the human brain to perceive meaningful patterns, particularly faces, in random visual data, is a well-documented neuroscientific phenomenon. It is a product of the fusiform face area of the brain, which is tuned to detect faces with extremely high sensitivity. The same mechanism that enables rapid face recognition in social situations produces face perceptions in clouds, wood grain, toast, and low-resolution planetary images. Taken together, these facts form a pattern that cannot be explained by coincidence, misidentification, or methodological error. Each piece of evidence has been examined by skeptics. Each has been subjected to alternative explanations. And in each case, the alternative explanation falls short of accounting for everything that has been documented. We are left with a body of evidence that demands explanation and an accepted narrative that does not provide one. This is where serious inquiry begins. Now that we have established the evidence, we need to examine the theories that researchers have proposed to explain the face on Mars, Pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss. This is where the debate becomes most intense, because the theories reflect not just different interpretations of the same evidence, but fundamentally different assumptions about what is possible and what the past looked like. Understanding these theories is not just an academic exercise. Each one has been championed by serious researchers with genuine credentials, and each one captures something that the others miss. The truth, if it is ever established, will likely draw on elements of several. The first major explanation proposed by researchers holds that Richard Hoagland's claim that the face and surrounding Cydonia structures are artificial constructions of an ancient Martian civilization has not been retracted despite the MGS and MRO imaging. Hoagland argues that NASA manipulated the 1998 image to conceal the face's features, and that the true data supports his original interpretation. No independent analysis of the raw MGS data has found evidence of manipulation. This interpretation has significant academic support and is backed by substantial evidence, but it is not without problems. Critics point out that it requires assumptions that go beyond what the evidence strictly supports, and that key predictions of this theory have not been confirmed by subsequent research. It remains contested, and the contest is productive. A rival school of thought argues that Pareidolia fully explains the original Viking image, the scientific consensus. The combination of low-resolution, oblique sun angle, and the brain's face detection machinery created a compelling but entirely illusory perception. When the same formation is imaged at higher resolution under a different sun angle, no face is visible. This is the predicted outcome of the Pareidolia explanation and was confirmed by the 1998 MGS image. This theory is controversial, and deliberately so. Its proponents argue that the evidence demands an explanation outside the conventional framework. Critics counter that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that the evidence presented, while suggestive, does not yet meet that standard. The debate continues in peer-reviewed literature. Perhaps the most unconventional theory suggests that Vincent di Pietro and Gregory Molnar, two independent computer scientists, conducted their own analysis of the original Viking image in 1980 using image enhancement techniques, and argued that the formation showed a degree of bilateral symmetry beyond chance. Their analysis was superseded by the higher-resolution imaging of 1998 and 2007, which shows the apparent symmetry was a product of resolution and lighting rather than structure. What is striking about this debate is not merely that experts disagree. That is normal and healthy in science. What is striking is the quality of the disagreement. Serious researchers, working from the same body of evidence, reaching genuinely different conclusions. That level of fundamental disagreement, when it persists over decades, is a signal that something important has not yet been understood. The question is not which of these theories is right. The question is whether any of them is right, or whether the truth is something that none of the current frameworks has yet been able to capture. The case surrounding the face on Mars, Pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss, does not rest on speculation alone. What distinguishes this investigation from pure mythology is the existence of documented, physical, verifiable evidence, material that has been examined by credentialed researchers and whose authenticity is not seriously disputed. What is disputed is its interpretation. Let us review the most significant documented evidence as objectively as possible. We are not going to cherry-pick the data that supports a preferred conclusion. We are going to lay out what exists and let you draw your own assessment. Physical evidence supporting this account includes the 1998 MGS image taken at perpendicular sun angle is the definitive evidentiary response to the face claim. Photographing the same formation under different lighting conditions is the standard scientific test for whether a perceived feature is a real surface structure or a lighting artifact. The MGS image shows a natural mesa. The 2007 MRO high-rise images at 25 cm resolution confirm the same conclusion at higher fidelity. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Investigators have documented ESA's Mars Express spacecraft imaged Cydonia in 3 dimensions in 2006, producing a stereotopographic model of the formation. The 3D model confirms a natural mesa structure with no geometric regularity consistent with artificial construction. The D and M pyramid and city formations proposed by Hoagland are natural geological features in all high-resolution imaging. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. On-site analysis revealed. The neuroscientific literature on pareidolia is extensive and directly applicable. Studies using fMRI have confirmed that the fusiform face area activates in response to face-like patterns in noise, producing a genuine perceptual experience of a face rather than a conscious interpretation. The Viking image, at its original resolution and sun angle, is a textbook example of the class of stimuli that reliably trigger this response. This evidence has been subjected to independent verification. Skeptics have examined it. Alternative explanations have been proposed and tested. The data remains. The question of what it means remains open. Each individual piece of evidence might, in principle, be explained away. A single anomalous artifact might be misidentified. A single anomalous date might reflect contamination. A single anomalous eyewitness account might reflect misperception. The question is whether all of the evidence can be explained away, and whether the explanations required are more or less plausible than the evidence itself. When multiple independent lines of inquiry converge on the same conclusion, that convergence is the most powerful signal in empirical science. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. We have examined the history, the evidence, and the theories surrounding the face on Mars, pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss. Now we need to ask the question that is sometimes overlooked in discussions of ancient mysteries. Why does this matter? What does it mean for us today? It would be easy to file this away as an interesting historical curiosity, a puzzle from a distant past with no bearing on our present lives. That would be a fundamental mistake. The questions raised by this case touch on issues that are directly relevant to who we are, where we came from, and what the human story actually looks like before the period covered by conventional history. The face on Mars is definitively identified as a natural mesa by MGS 1998, ESA Mars Express 2006, and MRO 2007. Hoagland's claims have not been retracted. The face remains a useful teaching case for pareidolia, image resolution, and the persistence of belief in the face of contrary evidence. Mars 2020 Perseverance is operating on Mars but has no Cydonia mission planned. The face is gone. The story of why people believed in it is not. Furthermore, the tools available to investigate these questions are advancing rapidly. Satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, ancient DNA analysis, isotopic tracing, and deep-sea sonar are all providing capabilities that previous generations of researchers could only dream of. Cases that were genuinely unresolvable 10 years ago are now open to new analysis, and the findings, consistently, are expanding rather than contracting the mystery. The investigation continues. New discoveries are being made. New analyses are being published. New voices are entering the conversation from disciplines that were not previously part of the discussion. The answers, when they come, and they will come, will not merely solve a historical puzzle. They will force a fundamental revision of assumptions that underpin our entire understanding of human history and human potential. We have now walked through the complete case of the face on Mars, Pareidolia, or something NASA won't discuss. From the historical record, through the physical evidence, see across the competing theories, and into the modern significance of what remains unresolved. What the story of face on Mars ultimately reveals is not just a historical puzzle. It is a mirror. It reflects our assumptions back at us, our assumptions about what ancient people were capable of, about how knowledge is gained and lost across the centuries, and about the relationship between what we know and what we merely think we know. The evidence presented in this documentary is real. The questions it raises are genuine. The debate among researchers is ongoing, and that is healthy. Science is not a set of conclusions. It is a process. And the process requires that we remain open to evidence that challenges what we thought we knew, however uncomfortable that challenge might be. If you came to this documentary as a skeptic, we hope the evidence gave you something to think about. If you came as a true believer, we hope the critical examination gave you a more nuanced picture. The truth, as always, lies in the evidence, not in what we want to be true. Thank you for watching. If this investigation sparked your curiosity, please subscribe to the channel. We publish new documentaries every week, covering the full range of historical mysteries that the mainstream has not yet adequately explained. Leave a comment below telling us which case you want us to investigate next. The conversation continues. The investigation never ends.